New cast, new faces, same stories. My name is Siani.
My name's Connor.
And I'm Ka'ahu.
Yes, so today we're going to be talking about President Trump's plan to temporarily freeze funding, federal funding. What are your ideas on that?
I don't know too much on this whole situation that's going down, but it seems kind of concerning coming from like the outside perspective on it. But God, Diana.
Yeah, so if we look at funding, especially federal funding for grants and everything, like who is it serving?
Right.
If you guys think, who is it serving? Who's going to be most affected by it? Right. So if you look at some of the grants and what they cover, it's you look at the TRIO programs, some of the early colleges, they have TRIO directors coming out and doing stuff with them. Here on the campus, they do the tutoring and extra things, and so. But if you look at who are recipients of TRIO, do you guys have any idea who it would be? It would be the first generation students,
right,
the people who are on financial aid, or people who have any sort of disabilities. So when you look at some of the grants, the reason why a lot of the grants are around is to help a certain group of people, right? And so now we're putting a freeze on it, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be cut forever, but it just means, they're going to look at it, assess to see if the money's been used and what kind of value it's bringing. Because the money does come from, taxpayers.
Somewhere, right. So honestly, I can vouch for TRIO and things like AOML. It really made a difference in my first semester. I'm a first-year college student myself in my family. TRIO helped me tremendously throughout my process of college so far. And man, honestly, if it wasn't for TRIO, I don't think I would make it this far this fast. So
one of the things that, looking at it that way, it helps a lot of people, right?
Right.
But then we also look at the other part of it, whereas, the money is coming from somewhere. Could the money be used better somewhere else?
Right.
Right. And so it's a huge question. And this is a lot of the executive orders that are coming out, right? A lot of people are super scared of this change because, they're saying like, oh, he's changing this, he's changing this, he's changing this, he's doing this. And a lot of us aren't privy to some of the information that they might have or the goals that they might have, right? I don't know. And, I'm on that end saying like, why is this happening? Why are we getting rid of all these things? Why are these different? Because I feel like certain group of people are the ones that are getting targeted.
I agree with that, but I also think that like it's kind of confusing because they're taking certain things away, but they're ignoring other things that should definitely be like rethought. Like for example, our ginormous military budget. It's like number one in the world past the first like other 20 countries, most of whom are our allies, and then we end up taking funds away from education. I don't know. It seems kind of silly.
So what are some of the crazy things you guys hear about with the new president and what he's doing? Like, are you watching for entertainment, or are you feeling really engaged and emotional? Like, what do you guys think is happening in the world?
Well, I wouldn't think, like, even though we all have very strong opinions about the presidency and the election, I don't think he's trying to ruin the country. So I think that, like, we can complain all we want, but it's better to just wait and see how things play out.
The one thing I thought was, like, I just laughed kind of, and I don't know, I might be crazy, but when he wants to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico, right? And he's super like, that's going to happen. At first he thought, it's just somebody talking, but to actually want to do something like that or change a piece of what, we see as history.
Yeah.
We're going to take over the Panama Canal, we're going to bring it back. And, I don't know all the other backstories about it, but just to hear somebody's going to go, and this is like olden day imperialism, when they would go and take over different countries and say like, hey, this is ours, we're stronger than you.
Yeah, so I actually saw that Google is actually going to accept Trump's executive order and officially rename it on Google Maps to the Gulf of America instead of the Gulf of Mexico. So it's very interesting that that's actually being taken seriously, but...
And it's crazy that Google has a power and just they can do it, and we're not going to give up Google, so...
Right.
It's like a follow thing, right? Gotta follow. And I think that's, when it comes to his ideas and his, like to the people and all the things that he has going, it's almost has to be accepted, I'd say, you know. I mean, yes, there's ways to participate in, you know, standing against things that he says, but in all ways, you know, unless you're going to move out of America and somewhere else, then you're kind of in it for the boat ride and the long haul. So, yeah.
Yeah, this presidency and all that, it's kind of crazy how it's just super separating people, families, everybody else, right? We're putting so much emphasis on these two people that we're just disregarding the rest of our lives, and we're so enveloped in this. When I go home, one room is listening to Fox News, and they're like, yeah, it's a mess. And the other room, it has CNN, and I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a long night, because a lot of people have different views, right? And for some of us, we don't really, you know, there's good in everything, right? And so you try to see, you know, some of the good that might come out of it. And
Both, right?
but yeah, it's just crazy that people are losing relationships over this, right? You're hearing people say, if you voted for him, we're not friends. Or other people are saying, if you did this, you know, don't ever talk to me, you hate these people. Or just,
And like you said, those are people like in households too. Like,
Yeah.
okay, get out, get away. If you really think that this guy is fit to be our president, leave. Like, I don't ever want to talk to you again, you know. And
so with that being said, Connor, who did you vote for?
I'm
I'm just
voting-
kidding. You don't have to answer that. All right.
I didn't vote.
But you know, people, they like, this has turned kind of into a sporting spectacle where, you know, people are so committed to a certain team and the other people are committed to a certain team. And
Right.
before we used to see people wearing like 49ers jerseys all the time. Now you see like Make America Great
I was
Again
just about to say
or
that.
something else. But you know, that's kind of happening already.
Speaking of sports
It's going
spectacles,
back to sports.
how about the Super Bowl, dude?
How about last week's game?
How about the refs rigging the NFL?
Oh no, man.
Ooh, we want to get into this conversation right now.
Why do you think the refs are rigging the NFL?
Payoffs.
There's just like clip after clip of just like botched calls, especially
Absurd.
toward one team in the league. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna mention it, but
I think that team has a bunch of haters because they're just finding clips that make them look bad.
yeah. There's
I
a
mean, that's
lot
what
of them
happens
out
when
there.
you're on top. I mean, you can't touch Mahomes. We all know he's the GOAT right now. He's going for the dynasty, 3 Super Bowl wins, which hasn't ever been done before. You know, all the Tom Brady fans are super mad, like, no, don't let him win. And so it's it's lonely when you're on top. When you guys get there, you'll understand.
Yeah. When, keyword.
So who do you guys think will win this Super Bowl?
Oh, man.
Honestly.
I mean, like voting, I never vote, so I'm not particular with football, but I think the Eagles. I'm rooting for Philly Eagles.
What about you, Gahu?
I'm a Chiefs fan.
Ooh,
Oh,
I'm a Mahomes fan, so I just love the hate.
who is a Mahomes fan?
I was
is here
watching the
with us
game at the
today.
mall, actually, and everybody there was all like
Hyped.
cheering on the
yeah.
Bills, and everyone's like, yeah, forget Mahomes and this, they're rigging it and everything. But I just like, he's such a great quarterback. Like, he's so poised, and so he's good, and he lifts the team. So, but Philly, I don't know. They got Saquon. They have their quarterback's amazing. So I'm not sure. These are the 2 teams that should be there.
yeah, I agree. Honestly, I saw the end of the Eagles Commanders game, and I don't know if you saw the score, but the Commanders just lost like so bad to the Eagles, and they were hot, like red hot, going into that game. So honestly, I think the Eagles win this one, but I wouldn't be like crazy surprised if the Chiefs pull some dark magic voodoo stuff out and do the three-peat. But how about Saquon Barkley?
Yeah. But the Chiefs, you know, hopefully the refs are on their side this year. Right? Hopefully they can pay the refs off like everyone thinks, and then they can pull off another three-peat, and that would make them a dynasty.
We'll see.
Okay. So who's your favorite player right now in the NFL? Is it Saquon?
He was the best performer this year for sure.
I mean, there's a lot of rookies that were coming up, so it'll be interesting in the future. Like, you can't ever know who's going to win. You know, the Washington Commanders came out of nowhere. Everyone thought it was supposed to be the Lions. So
Who's gonna be on that top?
the Niners, they think they're gonna. Every year is their year, so it's getting harder and harder, I think.
Yeah. I think my top two favorite players or right now at least, are Saquon and Jaden Daniels, just because of their work ethic. Like if you talk to, or if you listen to the teammates' interviews, they talk about how they're just there, like nonstop, just grinding, constantly on the grind. And I can like appreciate where they're coming from and their love for the game.
Yeah, I
Don't care.
don't care. But I mean,
But we're gonna watch the Super Bowl because of the commercials.
yes, see what's out there, see what's new.
Okay. But February, there's a lot of action happening. There's a leadership conference ending February, so hopefully we'll be able to meet people there. Super Bowl's happening, and then after that, you got Valentine's.
Valentine's Day.
Are you
You
guys
got a
doing anything for
special
Valentine's?
I don't know what I have going on yet for Valentine's Day. My girlfriend and I are probably gonna do something. So
Ooh, something special. Your
Yeah.
new boo. New,
Yeah.
old.
no,
Same.
yeah.
Wait, she's old?
No.
No, 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 no.
Oh, yes, the cougar. Anyways, we'll not bring that up. So, Siani, what about you? What are you planning on doing?
I have no plans. But my boyfriend did get me a Christmas gift to Tribal Seeds.
Okay.
Revolution. Actually, it's Revolution Feet Tribal Seeds. But that's like Christmas, Valentine's Day time. We broke out here, so I think that's just gonna merge together for us. Yeah. What about you?
It's 2025, and so I'm gonna let the women plan
Oh.
and take lead. Right? I don't
Oh,
want to
okay.
take that privilege away from them. They fought
Right.
so hard for
Right,
it.
right,
so
right.
No, I'm not sure. So me and my wife, we have a hard time because our Valentine's and our anniversaries in the same month, and so I get lucky. By the time Valentine's is over, all the roses are cheap and the candy and everything, and so I go scoop it up the day after and be like, "Hey, happy anniversary!" And so we usually merge them both. So we'll probably go eat or maybe go off island or something. But
Yeah, let's see. You should go stay at like a hotel. or,
what's
like,
the
a little
weirdest
getaway.
ideas? Have you guys ever had any crazy dates or anything happen like that?
Not really crazy dates, but back when I was in middle school, I think my Valentine's Day gift was to this girl I was talking to. We had a very interesting like friendship, I guess. It was like on and off, us like liking each other, not liking each other for like 3 years. And I think I like wrote Happy Valentine's Day on like a Cheetos bag,
That's
like a hot
cringe.
Cheetos bag.
It's borderline
See, that's
cringy.
cringe.
I'm just kidding.
A player's got to play.
Hey, baller's got a ball.
Cheetos
you
are
know what I
Cheetos.
mean?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I think someone got me like, I mean, it's not old because it's like 2 months prior. I mean, that's kind of old. But like candy canes from Christmas given to me for Valentine's Day. And it wasn't the Valentine's Day candies because there is those.
Oh, that's the thought that counts. Yeah.
Hey,
They gave you their
that's
sloppy
like
seconds for
better safe
Valentine's
than
Day.
sorry. Better something than nothing. You know what I mean? But that was back in middle school too.
I don't know. Sometimes nothing is better.
And then you think,
I feel like really.
and at the time you think you're so special. You're
Halloween
like, why you
candy.
save these for me? You know, like.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Like open the
No,
wrapper
not
of like
really,
the
it
chocolate, it's all
doesn't.
melted already.
It was gross.
So when I was in the mainland, there were guys, and they were super, just crazy, and they would take girls on dates, and they would go clean stop signs. And so they would just drive
Ideal
around the
first
neighborhood.
date.
They would just stop. They would run out with some Windex and just go clean signs and just.
Like for fun, or was that their job?
That was their date, for fun. Yeah.
Just for fun. Wow. You
Clean
know,
freak.
It
I
was
wonder
creative.
who actually does that. You know,
Interesting.
because I wouldn't.
Shout out to all the clean freaks out there.
Yeah, I mean.
Germaphobes.
So you don't have to be rich for Valentine's. You can just have save up some candy
You
canes.
know, go to
True.
the beach. I
Go
want to
get
do a
some
good surf
Windex.
sesh. Yeah.
I've been really wanting to go mini golfing with my girlfriend. That's on the to-do
Why don't you go
list.
to the one in the Glow Putt?
Heck no, dude. Glow putt.
What? Why?
Bayview.
It's kind of hard. Oh yeah, I forgot there was a mini golf.
Yep,
Or just go to the range. You know, hit some balls.
that's true.
All right. So what kind of advice would you give to people who want to go to school and balance all of this at the same time, right? Because we've been talking about like the stress of government, politics, and so in college level, you're starting to learn and how it affects you in your future. And then you also got your leisure stuff like dating, relationships, and then Super Bowls and just kind of balancing everything.
Fine line balance.
And then you have school. So how do you guys balance all of this? And what advice would you give people?
You don't, you just do. No, I'm just joking.
I would say like try to live in the moment, and like you could interpret that multiple ways because like you want to be able to do all these things, and that's like one way that you could interpret that. But the other way that you could interpret that is not to procrastinate because like I learned last semester, like if you procrastinate, like there is no mercy for
No.
you.
Let's talk about last semester.
Yeah.
So it was your first semester of school. Was it what you expected? I mean, you had more freedom. You didn't have, teachers, parents. Like, what was the difference between, transitioning from high school or work to just jumping in a full-time student?
I think people did a good job of telling me what they thought college was going to be for me, but no one can really say exactly how my experience is going to go because in the end, it's my personal experience. And I think I needed to experience the first semester of my education for myself to kind of feel it out, test the waters, and now I can kind of just zone in and be like, okay, this is what I need to do to become successful. So I'm just going to go out and do it.
I think, as you're in college and how it differentiates from high school, it's really on you. They're not going to baby you like at high school. Hey, did you do that? Okay, make sure you turn this in. Did you do this? Did you do this? Hey, if you didn't do it, you didn't do it. If you didn't get it done, it's an F, and you learn that the hard way, or the right way, and you just have to hold them well, and you have to find that balance. Having a kid myself, having a relationship, having my own son's school doings all the time, there does have to be a balance between it all, and make time. Like you said, don't procrastinate. Make the time to do what you have to do to hold them well. Because at the end of the day, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Not only for yourself, for your keiki, for their keiki, and just learning and sharing.
So,
Awesome.
speaking of last semester, I have a question for you. As a teacher, what was your craziest student encounter last semester?
The craziest student encounter.
And as a counselor?
Besides you guys, the craziest, last semester was pretty chill. It wasn't too bad. Never had that many crazy people.
Ever. Let's put it on a broader scale.
Oh, okay.
Your ever most craziest encounter with a student.
Oh, I mean, we had people who wanted to scrap
I
a
was
couple
supposed to say,
times.
does somebody ever want to throw blows like this?
Um,
What?
In the SAC, we almost had a riot one time, but it never really happened. We had student leaders who were trying to scrap in the parking lots. But one of the scariest ones was just, not knowing what people were capable of or what they would do when they were upset. Somebody brought his dog here as like this big pit bull. And he said it was a service animal, and he would just walk around campus with it and cause ruckus at the library all over the place. But then there's a lady who had a blind dog. She was blind. She worked here. And she was walking, and then you just hear the two dogs going at it. And the protector dog kind of just stood in front of the owner and just barked and kind of was just ready. It was a golden retriever, but the other one was trying to attack and going crazy. And so we ran down with pool sticks. And then the guy freaked out because he thought we were going to hit him and not his dog. And so he pulled his dog off. And then, yeah, it was just a scary thing because the dog was trying to attack us after that. But everything was okay. And then he just stopped bringing his dog to campus.
And was that a student? That was a student?
It was a student, yeah.
Yeah, because what? I noticed that a lot of people walk their dogs here. Like neighborhoodly people, just, non-student people. Like, there's a lot of... Do you guys notice that, or am I tripping?
No, they do.
No, they do,
walk
yeah.
around here. I think everyone was curious. After the last time, Eva had a question for Blaine. Do you remember the question?
I do. It was, Blaine, who would you rather fight, Connor or Ryan?
So now we're going to have the same question for you, Connor. How would you respond to Blaine? Because Blaine said he would light you up.
If I would rather fight myself or Ryan?
Blaine or Ryan?
Blaine or
Look,
Ryan?
Blaine's about to take his shirt off.
Um,
Or Andrew, because Andrew's
Oh.
been taking jujitsu and he's been talking a lot of smack.
Andrew or Ryan? I'm definitely fighting Ryan. I don't think I want the smoke from Andrew. He grew up in the hood in the mainland.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I
Andrew
don't
has a
want
little
none
bit
of
of
that
hood rat in
action.
him a little bit.
Yeah, I want none of that action.
So Ryan or Blaine?
Ryan or Blaine?
Oh, but Blaine grew up in the 4-4. Castle Bangers.
So did Ryan, kind of.
I think I'd still rather fight Ryan. Ryan's much more mellow, not very aggressive.
Yeah.
Clip that.
Oh man, I don't know. We gotta bring gloves to
Clip
Maui.
I have gloves. If anyone has more gloves,
So if anybody wants to meet Siani,
we go.
she's got gloves. You know, when I was in college, they had a fight club.
Really?
Wait,
so
can
you-
we do a fight club?
We had stuff here, but it was a real fight club, unaffiliated. So you just get a text message and it'll say, "Okay, we're gonna meet up at this time if you want to fight." And then
That would
it was
be
like
so-
old school. Cars would
that would-
park around a circle and they'd have the lights on, and then two people would go in for like a minute or 2 minutes, and they would just throw. And
That would be a good way to balance the stress of school and life.
yeah, I don't
like,
know if it was
I
a
would-
good idea.
I would volunteer, like with gloves or not.
Yeah, wait, did they have gloves?
Yeah.
Or were they
Yeah,
just-
I mean,
gloves.
or
okay.
not, but nah, gloves would probably be better. But you know, if everyone like signed a waiver, like I feel like that'd be a cool thing.
There's
to
no
do.
waivers. It was
Yeah.
just people like, let's do it, and you know, Eagles and everything. And I got a bloody nose that time.
Oh, you participated?
Yeah, it was good fun, but
You know, way to show your children. Yeah, like yeah. So
Yeah.
we fought. Children. Speaking of children, I have a question. It's not children, but you'll hear. Would you rather go in the past and visit your ancestors, or would you rather go to the future to see and get to know your great grandchildren?
I think I would rather go to the future and seeing it to know my great grandchildren, because like thinking about it, it would be cool to meet my ancestors, but I'd rather my great grandchildren be able to experience that same thing instead of taking that experience away from them for my own personal gain.
yeah, I would go to the future just to see what it's like.
That's
And then
cool.
if I had time, I'd go visit my grandkids. It'd be pretty. I mean, imagine what it's gonna look like at that time.
Right.
Like 100 years from now, it's
100
going to be
years
a
from
total
now.
different slideshow.
I'm gonna
For
be like,
sure.
man, I should have recycled.
No, that's a really
Gonna
good
be like
answer.
on fire already. It's like, oh
There's gonna
boy.
be flying cars at that point. Like, I mean, I think there is actually, not flying, but like off the ground cars in some part of the world.
It's getting there, yeah.
So what would you do?
AI.
The right
Oh,
answer is
no.
to say go back and visit your kupuna and learn magical lessons.
Yeah.
And bring it
Okay,
back.
so that's what I want to say is like you kind of want to go back, and I mean I kind of want to go back just to see like their real perspective of things, not just hearsay. Like especially being from Hawaii, being Hawaiian, being of Hawaiian descent. I feel like to have that perspective of like really what they went through and how we're dealing with it now, how it could be better. I feel like that'd be cool because in turn I'd be like setting up my great grandchildren more for,
I think I'd be more curious and also see, how the kids and everybody else, my offspring has
turned out.
turned out, and if they're naughty or if they're good,
Yeah.
raising ruckus or lifting the people. So
Anyone else have a would you rather?
None from me. I'm wiped out after today.
yeah, so I think our next one might end up being in Maui. We got to talk to some other people there from other schools and campuses, so it'll be fun just kind of come up with different scenarios and questions for them, and we'll see what happens with all of the executive orders and how they go forward.
Super Bowl.
We'll know who won the Super Bowl. I mean, we kind of already know, but we'll pretend like Philly has a chance.
I'm a Packers fan. Fly Eagles fly.
If
Even
I was
though
to
you beat
choose
us.
one, I'd choose 49ers. I'm not gonna lie. Not only because that's like my dad's team, so I just go with the flow. But really, I don't care.
Go Niners. All right. Okay, well, we'll check
What?
back with you guys.
Check back with
Yep.
you soon. Thanks for joining us today, and see you next time.
how.
That's a